Identity. Our identity will be formed basically out of a whole list of our beliefs. It goes back and forth, right? We'll create beliefs that conform to identity, and our identity will conform to our beliefs, okay? These two things here, if you like, are static in the mind. You only know they exist when you look for them. Does that make sense? Because the next one down, what beliefs will do is they give birth to thoughts. Okay? I'll go finish, I'll give you an example in a minute. Thoughts are what we become aware of, do you agree? They're like little dynamic things that flutter across our mind. Oh, there's one, there's one, there's one. Oh, God. Yeah, you see them, like little dynamic thoughts scattering. Some of you might be a complete chaos, I don't know, right? But there's a little scattering of these thoughts going across your mind, right? Beliefs and identity are fixed. Not in terms of permanent fixed, so there's no hope for this poor lady. What I mean by that is they're static, yeah? Okay. Thoughts give birth to feelings. Which is what I've been banging on about. Yeah? Adrenaline, all that lot, yeah? Feelings are chemical reactions. They're the brain doing responses to get you to feel a certain way. The only purpose of feelings is to direct us best through life. That's it. Nice feelings attract us to nice things. And guess what? Those nice things are normally things around survival. There's a reason why food is really pleasant for most people and sex is really great for most people. There's a reason for that, right? Prime directives, right? We have to do these things. We have to eat. We have to have sex, otherwise that's the end of that, right? But guess what? That's it, right? Prime safety. So that's why they feel good. They feel good, right? They feel good, so we're going to do lots of that, right? Brilliant. Species, we're still here, right? Every billions of years later, not doing too bad in the whole, right? It works. Sadness, sorrow, pain, misery, fear, anxiety, hurt, upset, depression, all these other things. If we were meant to feel great all day long, the brain wouldn't have serotonin in it, wouldn't have all these other things in it, which are made to make us feel crap sometimes, right? They're done deliberately to keep us away from harm and pull us towards safety. With no education whatsoever, you guys would be pretty good. If we just sat there and said, right, without any experiences, without anything else, if I could have just learned logically myself, you would make good choices. But what happened is it's the perception of what is sad, miserable, angry. That's why things like food, which actually we're programmed to enjoy, for some people becomes a very miserable experience because it's triggered, we've cross-wired it, right? For some people, sex is the most worst thing on the planet. That's not normal. Why? Because that's not how we're built, because we're animals, we're supposed to be doing it all the time, quite a bit anyway. Sometimes. We're meant for it, right? Cross-wired, we get cross-wired. But if we connotate that to a negative thing and we cross-wire it all, I mean, it's obvious how that can happen, right? It's obvious how it can happen. Bad experiences, bad programming, bad luck, right? Bad luck teaches us, oh, that's a bad thing, food's a bad thing. So when I eat, I feel crap, but I do this, I feel good, and it all gets confused, right? Feelings, ultimately, they're there to make you act. Bottom line, no one ever did anything on a thought. I defy you to prove to me you ever did anything on a thought. You did it when the thought created a feeling, and that created the impulse or the motivation to take action. You lay at night thinking, oh, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. You think, yeah, great. And you start to feel the excitement. That excitement creates the action. The sadness, the fear of something creates the action. The thought alone is just a thought, right? So feelings are there to create action, right? That's the whole purpose of them. And those actions, based on what the subconscious believes is safe or unsafe, that's it. The whole point. It will release these chemicals and emotions and that to make you go towards perceived safety, make you go away from perceived threat. However, some of those will serve you, some of them won't serve you, right? Actions, for our scientists out there, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So then the world reacts to our actions, okay? So I'll do my little eyeball here, which is us viewing the reaction in the world, we then perceive that as reality. Yeah? That's what the world is. We perceive that as reality. Feed back in to identity and beliefs. This is how you learn who you were. I'm going to tell you now how you break the habit. Number one, the most common way that we break this habit is crisis. How many people here have broken a massive bad habit, like being married to the same person for too long, through crisis? How many people have given up some awful habit through crisis? Doctor says you're going to die. Give up smoking, bomb, habit. Crisis, right? Crisis will create massive change, right? So one of the things we do with coaches, we talk about people at the crisis and say, right, go back and look at all your crises. Brilliant. Now, rather than just hate them all and think what a miserable life you've had and use that to mean you're less of a person, which is what most of us do, because all this shit stuff happened, therefore I must be a shit person. Now look at it and say, why did it have to happen? So I tell you now, go through every crisis, you'll see massive involvement that comes off the back of that. It might be hard for a period of time, but the meaning will make sense. If any of you have gone through crisis or going through crisis and you don't know what the meaning is, bear with it, just know it will happen. Once you know it will happen, it doesn't feel half as bad. I tell you now, I learned that a long time ago. I went back and I looked at all the stuff and thought, how did I feel in that moment? It felt like basically the end of the world, right? And I looked at it and thought, well, some of it was like a year later, it was alright. Some was like 7 years later, it didn't make any difference. I thought, right, so if I know that in 10 years from now, at some point in the future, this is not even going to be relevant for me, in that moment, it started to become less relevant. In that moment, it became less real. People who are in crisis, the second they acknowledge that they'll get out of it and they'll be alright, they start. When they're in it and say, this is it forever, you're locked in it. The second you say, do you accept that one day you won't feel like this? Once you know that, trust me, you're already out of it. Yeah? You're in process, right? Bolt of light. I have had this a couple of times. I'm looking for your faces, I haven't had one yet. It's this euphoric moment of, oh my god, that man in front of me is just so right. I'm such an idiot. This is the way it needs to be. And it happens, right? That's like a really positive, like, crisis moment. It's that moment of, duh, what have I been doing? Why am I doing this? It's mental. And it's absolutely nothing but like white light going, this is so clear now, I can't believe it, right? That creates change. For the rest of us, still safe. Still safe. Still safe. Pushing back, yeah? Still safe. Just pushing our boundaries. Still safe, step by step. At your own pace, right?